Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to another video. Happy New Year to you all, and we're getting back into the swing of things. Of course, with a new year brings a new transfer window. The winter transfer window is upon us, but also, of course, it means that we are 6 months away from the next transfer window, the summer transfer window, and the end of the season. And of course, at the end of the season, it means that certain players may be running their contracts down and therefore available on free agents come the end of the season, going into the pre-season for the next campaign. So I decided to put together a list of 5 of the biggest, in my opinion at least, the biggest free signings potentially of this upcoming summer. Before we get into that though, before we get into the list, I would like to remind you all to please like the video and also subscribe if you're new. Both things will always and that would be greatly appreciated. But for now, let's get into my top 5 of the biggest free agents this summer. Number 5, Antonio Rudiger. Yes, kicking off this list, we've got Antonio Rudiger, currently of Chelsea. It's been well documented that both Chelsea and Rudiger have been locked in negotiations over a new contract at Stamford Bridge. Plenty of conflicting reports coming out on the daily in regards to how close or how far away Rudiger and Chelsea are or were to agreeing a new contract, but the days have counted down. And to a point now where he is eligible to, of course, begin pre-contract talks, negotiations and agreements with other clubs, as it looks like Rudiger's time at Stamford Bridge is coming to an end. The 28-year-old centre-back will be 29 in March, so he's very much in his prime. We've seen his form resurrected a bit at Stamford Bridge under the current Chelsea manager Thomas Tuchel to be a fine defender in England's top flight division. It just seems that his wage demands were a massive stumbling block over whether a new contract at the Bridge was granted or not. But given his age, his defensive qualities, his leadership, aerial ability, no-nonsense type of defending, he's a bit of a throwback defender, a little bit in my opinion. And of course the fact that he is going to be a free agent come the end of the season, it's easy to see why there are reports, and a number of reports at that, of a few clubs monitoring this situation. Unless there's a breakthrough or a U-turn in regards to the relationship between himself and Chelsea or the contract situation at Stamford Bridge, it seems likely that he will be off in the summer. There's said to be fellow Premier League interest from the likes of both Manchester United and, more interestingly, Tottenham. We, of course, all know about the rivalry between Chelsea and Tottenham. Would he really ever consider crossing that line? Only time will tell, of course, but there is also rumoured interest from other places. Real Madrid are linked, and that will be a common thread throughout this video of Real Madrid being linked with some of these players, although they have said to have played down those reports. Whilst a return to Germany could also be on the cards for Rudiger, as Bayern Munich are said to be interested in his services as well. Either way, it'll be interesting to see what the future holds for Antonio Rudiger. He will definitely have plenty to think about and decide upon for where his football lies next season. Number 4, Paul Pogba. When you think of Paul Pogba, you think about a player who's never reached his full potential. Somewhat unfortunate really, because when he plays and when he turns up for games and when he's motivated, he can run the entirety of the game. His passing can be phenomenal, his shooting can be perfectly accurate, his flair, his skill and the excitement levels that he can create can be very interesting and fun to watch. There's no doubt about it. He had or has the talent and quality. There is absolutely no question about that. But unless he's playing for France, he never shows it on a consistent enough basis. The French midfielder re-signed for the Red Devils back in 2016 for a club record fee of £89 million, but inconsistency, among other things, has hit him hard. Other issues such as different managers, injuries, and other off-the-pitch issues that of course hindered his career. There's no doubt he's a talent. When he's in the mood to play, but keeping him happy and keeping him motivated is something to be considered here when approaching this potential free transfer, and having to do business with Pogba's outspoken and controversial agent Mino Raiola should also be considered when approaching one Paul Pogba. Nevertheless, the argument can be made that maybe under the right manager, with the right combination in midfield alongside him, the 28-year-old can still do a job, and if he finds the right consistency, he can definitely still be a top-level midfielder around Europe and the world of football. I think the parting between both Pogba and Manchester United will be good for all parties involved, but the question does lie, where will Pogba go? Real Madrid have been linked with his name for a while now, just because, well, it's Real Madrid. Whilst there's also been rumoured interest from PSG, now going home to France, being in the French league, receiving obviously a very large wage packet over there, and playing with some top quality players will of course not be a bad option at all, and will probably interest him more than most. But there's also been rumours of a return to Juventus. That could potentially be on the cards for the 28-year-old. But whatever the case, it seems that Pogba will have no shortage of options for his footballing future from this point onwards. Number 3, Franck Kessie. Next we move on to a player who is very much in high demand, it seems. 25-year-old Franck Kessie. Currently of AC Milan, Kessie's future has been up in the air for a while now. Negotiations between the Ivory Coast international and the Italian club have stalled somewhat, it appears, and now it seems that barring a U-turn or a major breakthrough in negotiations, Kessie's time with AC Milan is seemingly coming to an end, and he's free to go at the end of the season to wherever he chooses. And as I said earlier, he's going to have no shortage of options, it seems, going forward, as the very talented midfielder seems very much in high demand, with a number of top clubs from around Europe seemingly interested in signing him. He's a strong, technically gifted all-round midfielder, a ball carrier, ball winner, playmaker, an absolute engine in the middle of the pitch. He's got it all, it seems. A quality midfielder who is only 25, so he's pretty much only just about entering the prime of his career and can still get better with experience. And it has many years ahead of him, of course. He may not be the most flashy or most high-profile name on this list, but as far as free transfers go, this could be one of the best, one of the very good and very underrated pieces of business that you can possibly do in this transfer window by the club that obviously manages to snap up his signature. But like I say, there's rumoured to be a lot of teams that are going to be interested in signing him and doing exactly that. As of right now, there appears to be only links to the Premier League clubs, or strong links at that to Premier League clubs, should I say, that have seemingly shown a lot of interest in signing him. Among those rumoured to be interested are the likes of Arsenal, Tottenham, Liverpool and Manchester United, and I guess you can make a case for all of them clubs as to why they would show such interest in the 25-year-old and want to boost and strengthen their midfield options. As far as free transfers go, like I say, Franck Kessie may be one of the most underrated pieces of business that a club may do this in the summer, and he may be one name to look out for going forward. Number 2, Paulo Dybala. Ah yes, Paulo Dybala, once a seemingly successor or a rival, or whatever you wanted to put it, to the one known as Lionel Messi. It now seems that he is at a bit of a crossroads in his career. It seems that it's finally time for the Argentine attacker to finally leave Juventus at the age of 28. But because of how his career has gone in recent years, there are big question marks over himself, and there's a big question mark over whether the boat has sailed on him from a major money move to one of the bigger or biggest clubs in European football, other than, of course, Juventus. Don't get me wrong, when he plays, he can still be a delight to watch. He's got a wand of a left foot, possesses great speed, talent, flair, an excellent technical and has got excellent technical ability as well as great vision. But in recent years, like I say, Dybala's career hasn't exactly gone according to plan as we originally thought it would when he first burst onto the scene. Whether it's other players around him at Juventus that have been overshadowing him, managers not really playing to his strengths, or in the past couple of years or so, really bad injuries that have deeply affected him. It's safe to say that it's been a rough couple of years for the Argentine, and both himself and Juventus, like I say, are seemingly at a bit of a crossroads as to where both of them go from here. He's got so much quality and ability, there's no doubt about it. It's a shame that we've just never seen it fully enough on a consistent enough basis for the Italian side. But there's no denying that all that good stuff is in there somewhere. It's all within him somewhere. It's just got to be brought out more, like I say, on a consistent enough basis. The issue you've got is that the free transfer, this one represents more of a gamble than most due to the injury issues that he has had in the past couple of years alone. They've not helped him at all, and of course that is something that potential buyers are going to look at and possibly be put off by. Of course, there's still the possibility that Juventus could re-sign Dybala, but it's whether or not either party wants to continue to work together, whether Juventus may be put off by his recent injury record, and it also depends on their own financial situation. We know that Serie A and Juventus have been hit hard financially in the past few years with obviously COVID and everything else that's gone on by. So it depends on obviously the wages that Dybala will demand and whether or not Juventus see him as a worthwhile investment going forward. If he can shake off that injury-prone tag, a change of scenery might also do him the world of good, as well as being in a more suitable system. The talent is definitely there, but the consistency hasn't for a few years. It's similar to Paul Pogba in that respect, but with everything that I've said good about Dybala, it's definitely worth at least considering. But like I say, injuries, consistency, and all that other negative stuff is something that is worth considering if teams are going to potentially look at buying Dybala. But there's no doubt he is a real talent. It'll just be very interesting to see what the future holds for one Paulo Dybala. Honourable mention to Ousmane Dembele. Yes, before we get into the top of this list, we give an honourable mention to one of the biggest flops in world football, in football history, Ousmane Dembele. A man who signed for Barcelona back in 2017 for somewhere in the region of £135 million from Borussia Dortmund, and it's safe to say that it hasn't exactly worked out for him, has it? He will go down in history as a part of Barcelona's downfall in recent years due to the big money signings that the Spanish giants have made and obviously hadn't gone according to plan. But for Dembele in particular, it's been a Barcelona career that's been hit with a lot of inconsistency when he's been on the pitch and a lot of injuries when he's been off the pitch. He arrived at the new camp with a lot of promise and a lot of potential. A winger who could play off either wing. He was tricky, he was pacey, he was direct. And the thought of him for the present and future of Barcelona and linking up with the likes of Luis Suarez and of course Lionel Messi back then were going to terrify defences throughout Spain and obviously across Europe. But ultimately, as we know, it didn't quite pan out that way. He's still only 24 years of age, he'll be 25 at the end of the season, and I'd imagine that with his move failing and not taking off the way that that all parties involved would have liked it to, and of course with Barcelona's financial issues as well, I reckon they'd be happy to see the back of him and that all parties would be better off separating themselves from each other. And maybe being away from that pressure that comes with representing Barcelona may do him the world of good as well. But with his injury record, it does represent a massive risk, a big gamble to any team that wishes to pick him up on a free transfer at the end of the campaign. So far, as we know, we've heard of Premier League interest from the likes of Manchester United and Newcastle, so it will be interesting to see what the future holds for Ousmane Dembele. And finally, number one, you guessed it, Kylian Mbappe. Look, need I say any more about Kylian Mbappe? We all know about the French superstar. We all know that this is going to be the hottest free agent of the summer. He's already accomplished a lot in his young career already. Several French Cups, multiple French League titles with both Monaco and PSG. The Monaco one, for obvious reasons, being the more impressive, along with a Nations League and, of course, a World Cup winners medal for France. And he is climbing through the ranks towards being at or even very close to being at the pinnacle of world football, to being one of the best in world football. We all know he's destined for the top level of this game, and of course it looks like he is leaving PSG in the summer at the end of the season. He burst onto the scene with Monaco, he got his big money move to PSG, and now he's looking for a new challenge elsewhere, it seems. PSG are obviously above the rest in the French league with who and what they have within their ranks and at their disposal, and Mbappe seemingly wants to challenge himself in a much stronger league, it seems, more competitive league as well, and maybe even stake a stronger claim to winning the Champions League, depending on, of course, how PSG fare in this season's competition. He played 195 games for PSG across all competitions, scoring 147 goals and assisting 76 times. Ridiculous numbers, even if you are PSG, even if you are the best club in that league, with everything that you have going for you, that is still some serious stats to be posting. Real Madrid seems his likely destination, though. The Spanish Giants have been strongly linked with signing him for a while, and even attempted to buy him, of course, last summer, a year before his contract expires. However, PSG were unwilling to cash in on the French superstar, whether it through spite, resilience, stupidity, or maybe a belief, maybe a deluded one at that maybe they could have convinced him to sign a new deal to stay in Paris. It is anyone's guess as to why the French club did not cash in on Mbappe whilst they had the chance. But it does seem that the 23-year-old is going to be leaving this summer and be the biggest free agent come the end of the season / pre-season for the next campaign. And whilst I imagine that a lot of teams are monitoring this situation, like I say, Real Madrid seeing the front runners, but there's also been some rumours and murmurs of a certain team called Liverpool being in the mix as well, although that seems pretty unlikely given that entire situation. It seems that Real Madrid could at any moment be about to land one of the biggest names in football right now, for the present and for the future. But of course, as I always say, these are just the thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, whatever you want to call it, of this guy. I want to know what you guys think. What do you make of the what do you make of the list that I put together of the potentially biggest free agents of the summer? Were there any names that I missed off? What do you think of the players that I named on this list? Where do you think each player will go? So on and so forth. I'd love to know your thoughts, comments, opinions, predictions, whatever you want to call it on this particular topic down below in the comment section, because I'm sure it'll all make for interesting reading. Otherwise, hit that like button on the way if you enjoyed the video, subscribe if you're new or want to see more content like this. Both things always and forever be greatly appreciated. And as always, thank you all so much for watching and listening. I've been Fletch, this has been another Fletch Talk video, and I will soon speak to you all again soon in another video.